Uh-oh, you didn't hit record. Now you record.
But I got it now. Hi, everybody. We are actually just finishing our intros, and I would invite you to get to know each one of these women because they are all single-handedly dope. From Alex Steinman, Roushelle Reign, Tori Lens, Naja Bomani. Did I say it right? Naja? Yes. Okay, thank you. And Shawntera Hardy. So we just want to give y'all some love and affection, especially for the women of color and Black women on starting your year this year, because I know it's probably like COVID it's be continued. So, and the beautiful thing about this conversation is that we have folks from everywhere. So I'm currently in Houston. Alex and Shawntera are back in Minnesota. Roushelle is in Toronto. Tori is in London. Naja is in New York. So we are all on different time zones. But we just wanted to give y'all something because I don't know about you, but I be needing some inspiration daily and often. So really to jump into it, I want to ask everybody, what's going to be some of your goals, like starting out the first quarter, or if you've already planned the whole year for any one of your businesses, because everybody in here got multiple businesses and business ventures. And I want to start with Tori, because Tori is already excited. So let's just start with Tori. Tell me, what are some of your goals for this year?
For all my businesses, I would say it's refinement. From last year to this year, refinement has been one of the key things I really want to do. I feel like I do things well. The things I start and the things I want to do, I do things well. But I think it's down to like refining it and getting like it really like pinpoint, like great, like the level of like doing things well, doing things good, and then doing things great. I want to be at the point of doing things great. And I think that comes down to refinement and also my intentions, about being intentional about every decision that I make, not just going with the wind. As a creative, I have a like flowy kind of, I'm just gonna do things, but when it comes to business, can't really do that because you can end up somewhere completely that you don't even like, what, how did I get here? So you can't really do that. So I'm planning to be and planned to be very intentional about all the decisions I make and making sure every decision I make goes towards the goals that I want for my business. So and that goes across all of my businesses. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. There's specific things, but that's kind of the general of where I'm at.
So I think for me, for 2021 is to shift my business from just being great to being phenomenal. Refinement, right, Tori? Yep. And also changing my perspective or shifting my perspective and operating more so like a conglomerate. So kind of pulling things together tightly, changing over to corporations. Like Toronto is completely different from the States in how you register your business. So we're just shifting all of that now and working things into being, the Roushelle Reign that I want. And obviously getting into this new space of making actual products. It's a headache, but I think this year would be kind of a turning point in how we produce, how we show up, just all that stuff. And making sure everything is so meticulously planned and purposeful that it just creates an impact on each point, and never missing a beat and never leaving a bag on the table. Money talks. So I think that's just my goal, and literally just to be happy rich.
Did you say happy rich?
Happy rich.
I love that. I'm writing that down.
Write it down.
Nigel, how about you?
Yes. So I'm really trying to like cope here with listening to everyone. I got a lot happening. So for me, it's similar to what Tori mentioned in regards to being intentional, because I personally feel like 2020 was a phase. I literally feel like I'm in a phase right now where I'm preparing for that next level, and that next level is happening in 2020 for me. So when it comes to like, okay, I have my LLC, or I have my design consulting business, other businesses, as you know, that I'm like thinking of when it comes to like hair care and self-care and like family businesses. Really putting in a plan to action for what that looks like in 2020. Because me, I'll have so many ideas, and I'm like, I want to do them right then and there, and I know that can't happen if I want it to be long-term success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, okay, let's sit down, let's strategize, let's be intentional about every thought, and then put a plan together so that now it becomes more of, okay, you built that up, and now so it's just going to work for you in 2020, right? So it becomes a reverse of like, working smarter and not harder. Right now, the working hard, but I want to get to the point where like that working smart really comes into full effect for me in 2020.
I dig it. Okay. I was finna call y'all the two biggest bosses that I've seen thus far, but that's a Rick Ross line, and I don't know if either one of y'all be listening to Rick Ross.
I'm the boss.
Shawntera, let's actually start. Let's start there.
Because I'm the boss? All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as the boss
Mhm.
of my multiple companies, the word for me aligns with, Tori. For me, I zero in on discipline. And immediately when people think about discipline, you go to a space of sternness and being strict. But for me, discipline, hope is a discipline. That you continually have to make sure that in these dark spaces, in these dark times, that you discipline yourself to find the light. For me, as I think about the companies that I've built that have been, past the starting line, have had some stops in this 2020, had some huge jolts, is making sure that when I think about all the things that need to be put in place, that I'm disciplined to stick to the plan, but make sure that I'm agile enough to be able to flex. And when you think about what we've experienced over this year, one of the things that has been the hardest for people is the time that has been taken away from all the things that we thought we were going to do. I mean, Oprah said she out here with a tour and 2020 vision, and we all like, yeah. Mm-hmm. But Oprah said that this was going to be discipline, that if you have faith, knowing that everything is not on your time, but it's on time. And how do you continue to stick to the plan that you've laid out? And so for me, it's what are those things that I said that I was going to accomplish? How do I stay the course, but be thoughtful around the fact that the resources that I may need to put in because of the circumstances of this year may be different. But I don't have to put that goal aside. I have to make sure that I continue to push through, that as our team continues to build out the best legislative intelligence platform, that we are thoughtful about the very fact that when we pass November and whoever in the United States becomes our president, that the policies that are going to be pushed are going to have some communities at the brink. And so how do we make sure that people have access to a platform that allows them to see the policies that are impacting us? As we think about the backbone of this US economy in terms of Black women-owned businesses, for fearless commerce, how do we make sure that we are disciplined to our goal to make sure that Black women build businesses that they're able to sustain? So for me, as I think about my goals today, because sometimes we try to look to 2020 and 2021 is not promised, today and moving forward, I'm going to make sure that I'm disciplined to all the things that I said I want, to that future that I said I wanted to create. That for me is what I'm focused on.
Okay. Give me meditation and calmness all in one breath. Okay. A whole word. Okay. Yeah.
I also went to see Oprah and I was promised something. You know, Shawntera, when you said the word discipline, like my hair stood up. And I think when we think about discipline, we often think about like a diet, like removing something from our lives, like what can I get rid of, what can I shed, or denying yourself something, right? So you can't do something so that you can do something else. And I think of the word discipline as opening yourself up to new possibilities and new opportunities. And the more you say no to the things that aren't in line with your vision, the more, like, the faster I notice, like, things start to happen, right? So like the second I say no, it's like the next day or within the next hour, or I get a phone call or a text message that's like, do you want to do this thing? Or we have an opportunity. And continuing to remind myself that those things happen because I said no to the other thing, because I have discipline enough to say no or pass on something, like, that's huge. And I think that's what continues to motivate me. 2020 was a really interesting year, obviously for many, many reasons. But I don't know if anyone practices tarot, but I always pull in the beginning of the year. And I pulled I own a business called The Coven, so you knew this was coming. But I drew a spread for the year, and my theme of the year was the 10 of Swords. And it doesn't sound good, and doesn't look good, it's not good. And 2020 didn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form, because it was like sword after sword after sword. But I think truly what the card meant to me, and it didn't like resonate as terrifying in January, because I was like, things are great. Like, we're opening our second location. We've got momentum. You know, something is going to come along that will suck, and we'll have to figure out how to adjust. But I wasn't anticipating, obviously, like the massive everything that was 2020. And so I think, like, what I've taken away from that is just the resiliency that we've been able to build to keep going and keep putting one foot in front of the other, and truly, like, that thinking bigger about what it is that we're supposed to be here for, you know, whether that's for my business or for me individually. Like, I've been thinking a lot about vision in 2020. And so where 2021, I think, will take me is to focus. And so I love this conversation around discipline. I love this conversation about refinement, because I think the vision that, you know, we've been able to have because of all of the things that have happened in 2020 has made us more focused and more driven to get to where we want to be, and to shift to things like, I'll give you an example. For instance, in our business, like, we really cherish like those like small moments in our space. So, like, you know, we make you a cup of tea, we'll bring you, like, we have snacks on site. Well, snacks in COVID are not happening. Like, nobody's getting any snacks, and we got rid of those. But it saved us, honestly, like $5,000 a month. And it was like, and nobody said a thing. Nobody said a thing about missing snacks. They're sad about the snacks being gone. And it was just this like big realization of like, okay, like, that's something so small that we can cut, and like nobody cares, honestly. And it makes us a more resilient business because we're not spending so much money on, you know, food and extra treats and like all those things that are surprise and delight and that members love, but they don't need it to survive in our space. And I think those are the types of things that we've been really focused on, you know, in even bigger ways than just snacks. But I'm excited about 2021 because that, you know, the things that we were able to cut out have now opened new doors and new ways of opportunity. We have 3 new business revenue streams that we're kind of testing out here in the end of 2020 and into 2021. We'll be able to kind of pick the ones that are the most salient, resilient, and helpful for our business. So as a vision person, I'm excited to get to focus. So that's where I'll be driving 2021.
I love that. I so love that. And I actually, it's kind of on accident, purposely, that we started talking about discipline, Shawntera, yeah, when you brought up the word discipline, I was like, no, don't do that. We don't want because the thing about 2020 was that everything that you thought you knew literally got pushed out of a window. It was like, I actually read something that said everything that we would deem weird in 2019 is regular in 2020. So in 2021 now, it's just like, I don't have no expectations of whatever something may be or may not be, right? And so it kind of leads me to ask, with everything that happened in the past season, right? How are you, what is almost like your knee-jerk reaction now to moving forward? Like for me, and hopefully I'm asking that in the way that I'm thinking about it. For me, when I'm moving forward, it's literally like I just said, I am just going with the grace of that things are quick to change. And so when we're talking about discipline and we're talking about moving forward, how are folks reshaping or reframing their mind so that way when you're in a moment where things aren't going the way that you plan for them to, how are you taking that, and whether it's pivot in business or pivot personally to move forward? For me, it's therapy, but that's just me because I love my therapist. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anybody jump in? Go ahead.
I think everyone has to do both, but you have to, like, a conversation around this whole discipline and business and personal is that once your personal life is a mess, your business will always be a mess. So sometimes both will reflect each other. Sometimes it won't, right? And I think people need to clear their mind. So let's say we have a plan and COVID hits, something happened. You should be able to pivot. If you're not, then you need to reach out. You reach out to your therapist, reach out to a business strategist, reach out to someone who can help you to pivot the best way possible, not pivot with a trend. Two completely different things. So it's about being refined, and it's about being purposeful, and it's about walking in intention, right? So it's like everything plays on each other. And I think everybody should really focus on being intentional with yourself in your business and outside of your business. But that's just my take.
I want to, you lift something up for me. One of the things that I want to make sure that when I show up that I remind folks is that though we've gone through this storm, let's not be in a situation where we throw everything in the dumpster fire, be it 2020. The thing that I immediately thought about when you asked this question was like my grandma saying, baby, ain't nothing new under the sun. When you think about this from a business perspective, the one thing, no matter what, you never know what season you're going to come into, that if you don't start with a foundation, you'll never have a foundation. So when you think about what were the things that have allowed for us to have an ounce of, no judgment, whatever you call as your sanity, it was empathy. That was meeting people where they were. That was understanding what people were navigating. We all did that in 2020. That wasn't nothing new. You should have been doing that. And if you had an awakening, keep your eyes open, because there's going to be some more that comes with learning to have empathy for people. Being true to yourself about what's important to you. Time, especially in this United States of America, taking time for granted, taking time with people we love for granted. All of those things play into building a strong business. If you don't take time with your customers, if you don't take time with your products to refine them, to take them to the next level, then you're building junk on top of junk. And so I just want to make sure, like, in thinking about this whole thing, and I just love how you say it's both. And it starts with that foundation, that if you don't have a foundation, so for me, it's like, picking up, like, well, what we standing on around here? Well, girl, like, oh, self-awareness, like, oh, you need to work on that. You need to, like, that right there should be a continuous muscle that you should be working, because we don't know. I'm not putting it out there if 2021 is going to bring us some more dumpster fires. And if we haven't strengthened that foundation, we're going to go through and our therapist bill is going to be even higher than it needs to be, because we are going to need so much more core work than we need to just get through the day work. And that's hard. That's so hard. And so I just want to make sure that we don't throw everything in the dumpster fire of 2020, and that we do leave space, leave some margin to learn about what you learned. Learn about what you learned about yourself, learn about what you learned about your business. Because in looking at these squares on this Zoom and the data, 40% of Black businesses didn't make it. And by the time this is aired, I don't know if that number will increase. I hope it doesn't. Not that they pivot, not that they change, they didn't make it. That's devastating. That's in thinking about generational transformation, where people made that decision to start a business from entrepreneurship. That's all gone for many of those families. And so if you are not taking the time to build that foundation so that you're ready for the next dumpster fire, then those statistics are going to be looking at you in the face even worse. So that's my thoughts. And I had my dance this morning, my daily dance, so I ain't down. I'm feeling good, you know? So don't think that my words are coming from a place of greatness. They are just words that, if you really let them sink in, that should bring you joy. Like, shoot, I don't care what you throw at me, because this foundation right here is strong. So
I love you so much, because we I don't know about y'all, but I know since COVID, I definitely ain't seen a church. So now we got Pastor Hardy in here, and I'm so here for it. Because I know you got your morning routine.
Will the church say amen?
Amen.
Is there another?
Amen.
But no, I think that's one of the reasons, honestly, too. And in this Zoom, I'll like boast up Alex and Shawntera a lot, because I love them, and they really help guide me a lot. And I think that's really important. It's something Shawntera beats in me a lot, is foundation. And
I do, disclaimer, I do not beat.
I said beaten too.
That still sounds violent. Remember, I just said the word discipline. People are going to walk away to think that there is something.
Well, actually, maybe it's a good thing, because maybe somebody needs to be beat with discipline. It could be a good thing. It might work for somebody. But no, and foundation being a really big part. So I just wanted to get that out. Anyone else? Tori, Naja, Alex, go ahead, do your thing.
Go ahead, Tori.
I was gonna say, there's something to be said about Shawntera. I want to say Shawntera because that's you guys with the accent, but Shawntera.
No, say it with an accent. Go ahead. Say it with an accent.
Shawntera is how I would say it.
Thank
you. You said you spoke in earlier about flexibility and being flexible, and I think that's one thing that I think, and also Roushelle, I think you talked about pivoting. I think it's like one of the same thing about being flexible, and I feel like it's obviously foundation is important. That's the one thing that's going to hold everything together. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's something to be said about being true and honest about how flexible you are and how flexible you aren't. And I think for a lot of people in 2020 felt that they were like, yeah, I got this, I know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? And then it was like, bam, we got hit. And it's like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of showing you where you need to be, you need a little bit more work. Do you know what I mean? Like where you need to be like, actually, I'm not great with this, or I'm great with this, and things like that. For me personally, 2020 wasn't the worst thing ever. Like, I'm going to be honest. I know some people had like, you know, was devastating times. And for me, I started a new business. Like, some of my businesses thrived. Like Alex was saying, there was points where I wasn't spending money on travel because I was at home. So I had more money to put in other things. And because of how I am as a creative, I'm always kind of like here, there, doing different things. So a lot of skills that I accumulated without even realizing I accumulated came into play. And I think that's something to be said about being true to yourself. Like, a lot of times people downplay their you know, their skills or their what's the word? Like, you know, when you want to do like a hobby or things like that, because like doesn't work for business, it doesn't make sense in my life, I can't do it, all these things, and we kind of cut those things out, and that's part of us, that's our truth, that's who we are. And for me, because I didn't cut those things out, it allowed me to actually thrive in 2020. Like, I thrived because I was like, this is who I am, I'm being true to myself. If you don't like it, it's whatever. But the skills that I accumulated from the things that I love to do allow me to thrive. And I think there is something about that, like being true and honest, like you said, having found those foundations there, but being true and honest to yourself, because those are the things that are going to push you forward, even without even you realizing that I'm this way or I'm flexible, I'm whatever. Because I found the term multi-potential like in 2020. I didn't even know that was even a thing. Someone who does multiple, I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, yo, this is me. Like, I didn't even, what? That's, do you know what I mean? And I feel like those are the things that make us thrive. It's always good to like have a thought and have a vision and have a plan, but they're going to be things that are inherent to you, that make you, that are going to allow you to move forward, whether it's an experience, whether it's a skill, whether it's whatever. There's things that are about you, that are for you, that are made for you, that no matter what happens, you can push forward with things. Do you know what I mean? Like, you may have your business go bust, but in that time you may discover, oh my God, I don't know, plants. And before you know it, you're making a plant business. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like you need to really be like true to you. And that goes for any time, any year, anything that's happened, good or bad. Being true to you will allow you to move forward, because you're given these things by God, universe, whatever, to allow you to thrive. So that's just how I see it.
I just wanted to break things down in case just people don't understand exactly what pivoting means. And I'm going to pull together what Shawntera said. You have to have a foundation. So I think netball is like a global sport. You got to have a foundation, right? When you have that foundation, I'm going to try to use my fingers. So my middle finger is a foundation. That's where you stand on. Right? In netball, you have to use one foot to pivot. So you have to go around yourself, whichever way, to pass whatever to your teammate. That's basically what pivoting is. But you have to have a foundation in order to move forward. If you don't have a foundation, in Jamaica, those girls are going to bounce you over. Right? So it's just, if you want to look at it from a physical perspective, or if you want to look at it from a mental perspective, it's really the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what we're talking about is like being able to focus on what you can control, using your magic powers or superpowers, special skills to control what you can control. So, you know, Shawntera found a way she's like an amazing connector and an educator and a policy nerd, cute one. But like, she found a way to like get people the information that they need to make their organizations better, make their communities better. And like, that's what she can control. And that's where she's focusing. Like, I know how to connect people really well. I love coaching individuals. I love public speaking. Like, those are things that I can control and that I'm going to continue to do. Whatever happens in the world and to me and, you know, around me, like, I can't control everything. I can't control how people interpret my words. I can't control how people are coming at me and how I'm going to interpret their word, you know, like, I can't control what's around me. And so all we can do, and we can grieve, we can learn new things. That's not to say we can't do that. We can't do those things. But what brings me back to like vision and clarity and solace and peace is that I'm in control of this, and I'm going to continue to control this. And, you know, I've got, you know, 2 little kids that I have to take care of, and like, they're my world, and they have to grow up in a world that they're proud that their mom tried to make better. but and I can only do that because I can control what's in my circle. And so I think like giving yourself some space and grace to recognize that and not try to change everything that's out of your circle, out of your superpower. Like you can't do it. You'll get overwhelmed. That's where like depression speaks in. That's where, that's where we head to the dark places. And to get yourself out, you have to start thinking about what can you control? What is in your control? What can you do today to make yourself feel some joy?
I love that because when you said give yourself some space and grace, it's beautiful because I feel at this time during 2020, granted, I know I looked at it as opportunity. So I'm usually like, okay, well, now I'm home. I can launch this business. I can do that. You become fluid in the aspect of like wanting to do so much, but then it gets to a point where like you're so fluid and you're able to be very transparent in that way where it can take over you as well. So also learning to like kind of step away and take that time for your own health and your mental health, because if you're not good, then granted that affects your business, right? And as they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Like you are the home. So all your ideas, all your thoughts, everything that you want to start, like you are the home. So you should protect the home and make sure you take care of the home so that everything else inside of the home can like flourish and continue to grow. And that's that. I love that you said give yourself space and grace, because it can be hard. We're like, well, I have this idea and I had certain demands, but then again, when you start to flesh out ideas, whether those are your best ideas, is that the exact plan that you want to put out for 2020 or 2021? I realized I referenced 2020 for 2021 when I last spoke. But yes, I really, really agree with like, building a foundation, giving yourself space and grace, protecting your home, because you are your business and your business is part of you, and in order for them to both grow, you need to do both at the same time and make sure you're manageable at the same time.
Okay. All right. Gwanyan.
Hello. Oh, you said my name. Oh, look at you saying my name correctly. What? Hey guys. Hey, I can't be too loud.
Oh, I'm sorry, cause yes.
But hey y'all, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
And y'all collectively, how about everyone else?
I believe everyone can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Bet. Anyone else? Everyone else?
Oh, I know who just went away. Naja just went. But she'll come right back.
I just want to let y'all know I've been writing notes. I came in here like maybe 11:43. I think I came in here, and homegirl was spitting. Everyone was spitting. I was just like, let me just real quick. So yes.
So let me do a quick intro. Gwanyan lives in Bear, Delaware. She actually owns a very popular jewelry, would we just call it a jewelry company? Would you classify it as an African jewelry or just jewelry?
A majority African jewelry, so because it's a majority African jewelry.
Yeah. So she sells, which Roushelle, you would be really proud of Gwanyan's packaging, because when we did her keynote, I was like, all designers very proud of your packaging, because on her actual, like, y'all see I'm bald headed. I'm probably gonna go get my hair cut, but whatever.
I am too, guys.
Like, packaging for like her beads, for braids, she actually has like actual like braids. That's exactly all the designers. We are all excited. We love you.
I feel like I'm not worthy to be on this creative Zoom. So therefore, I feel like you all should just send me all of your goods so that I can be one with you all, because creativity.
Okay.
A vibe. I agree.
This is not true, because Shawntera and Alex, both of y'all know how to do something we all want to learn how to do constructively, which is be disciplined and how to make a lot of money at one time for a business.
Yes. And so therefore, as Alex said, we can be your brand ambassadors to your products and services and be able to take them to the next level. So
what is your Instagram
Only a boss
handle?
knows how to answer like that, you know. Only a boss.
Yo.
She's a boss.
But for real though, y'all put y'all Instagram handles in the thing, because I'm definitely writing stuff down.
I don't do the socials, so that's why I just was saying, like,
you gotta find her on LinkedIn if you want her social. That's the only social she giving you.
Respect.
Charge it to my head and not my heart. I love y'all and y'all social beings. I roll and I stalk and look at y'all and be overjoyed and getting all of my art in many forms and just living that studio life. So continue to be great on y'all socials, but not this one.
We just trying to, we are all, the thing that I love is that I met every single person except for Tori. Me and Tori, as we've discussed before, it was just the universe, because when V went to London, they actually ended up meeting, and then I was already following Tori because, like she mentioned earlier, she has a page called Her Cuts UK. So it's dedicated to all the bald-headed girls who want to dye their hair different colors, whatever. And
take your hat off. Let me see what you got.
No, listen. I was about to go and I was like, no, Tori, your hair is not looking, I still got a hat on. It's not looking righteous, and this has been recorded. No.
That was that foundational thinking.
Go ahead.
That was that foundational thinking that you was like, hold up, there are standards here. Don't you try to trip me up.
And the beauty is that every woman now at the moment has hair. Roushelle normally don't be having hair, but she do her thing. Gwanyan, I'm gonna let her live.
You said she's bald-headed as well. I was like, what?
Okay, guys, because
beauty.
For real,
yes.
For real.
That is called a pivot. Roushelle, was that a pivot?
That is a pivot.
A wicked pivot.
She's laying down now.
No, yes.
I really appreciate y'all. And Naja was also a baldie, but she currently grew her hair out, and so she had.
Can you all hear me better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, great. Sorry, we got construction happening, and that's why my internet was acting up. Told you, there's so much happening over here. But yeah, under this, we have some locks under here, but we had to put a wrap on today, so we make it work.
That wrap is cute though.
It is.
Thank you.
As Gwanyan plugs herself silently, because she also
myself together
that are really beautiful. But yes, so Gwanyan Bear Delaware, she also and she's been doing it for the last 6 years.
Correct.
Tori, you've been working for yourself because you do all the things, and also you are an assistant professor, correct?
So I work in a college university in London called Ravensbourne, and it's like kind of like, it's not an official, it's like the pre-course before the course, if you like. Yeah. But yeah, I work for myself. I've been self-employed for 7 years. I think I'm pushing 8 years now. So
Roushelle, you've been in this for the last 3-4 years.
Officially about 3 years, unofficially maybe around 6 years. I think I was just born to work for myself because it just wasn't gonna cut it, me getting up to go somewhere. No.
I feel that.
And Naja, her keynote was really dope too. Naja had a very beautiful story that I think any Black graphic designer in the United States who wants to work, since BBDO is the biggest advertising agency, has a very beautiful story. She's been working for BBDO since she left college. and her mentor that she cold emailed. Was it like a cold email to him? Yeah, it was another Black person at BBDO. So she's been working at BBDO since she left college, and got hired through the diversity committee. She got hired through the diversity committee at BBDO. And so how long have you been there?
I have been there 4.5, almost 5 years now since then. And then also working on my business 3 out of those 4.5, 5 years. So literally doing both of them simultaneously. And just pushing through, honestly, because I'm in the same realm. Like, yeah, I always want to start agency, but then, work for myself. And that's the position I want to be in, and fully working for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Shawntera, we all just been doing this little creativity thing for all of our lives. And I'm actually happy we're all here. Gwanyan is babysitting at the moment, so you'll see her pop in and she might pop off. But and I appreciate everybody. Well, Alex, I appreciate you too, because I know you're doing distance learning. Shawntera, I don't know if you're doing some distance learning. Here over in the US of A, kids are they got A days and B days and C days, and on them other days, they supposed to be home learning.
And they want to eat. They want to go out and play. And you like, but that's not how my Zooms is set up. The way my Zooms and my Google Meet set up, they don't align with your 32 minutes that you got for recess. That they ain't watching you. Okay, that was right.
I'm going to say this. I have help, and it's because I have sacrificed literally everything else that brings me joy in my life to afford help. And so we have a nanny and another family we're splitting with. And it is the most joyful thing because I can hear somebody having a fit right now, and I don't have to take care of it. So get your priorities right and focus, and you too can have some help.
If that's not a word, Alex, get your priorities right and you too can have some help, period. So kind of just to wrap some things in, because this Zoom has been really dope and I really appreciate y'all though. And I don't want to go over because I know everybody's busy. If you can stay for conversations, whatever, let's do it. But anywho, I've been reading this book by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap. The book is really phenomenal, and pretty much it talks about how if I had to sum it up my way, it's pretty much how you shouldn't never play yourself small. You shouldn't make yourself small to fit into rooms, to be into rooms. And in the book, it also talks about all of us who have an upper limit problem. Upper limit problem pretty much being when something is going really good for you, there's a little voice that pops in the back of your head that's like, all of this is going to fuck up and blow. You ready? Like, that is what the book is about. So I really want to ask, as we navigate this year, what are some of the ways you are not going to make yourself small and not play yourself, so that way you can continue to do whatever it is that you need to do? I can start by simply saying one of the ways I definitely won't play myself, and we've talked about it a lot here already, is if I know I'm not great at it, I'm not going to be the one to do it. I am going to be the one who calls someone else and says, hey, can you do this for me? Because that's not my wheelhouse. I don't do that. Which is another thing that the book has really been teaching. I recommend everybody read it. But yeah, how are we gonna move forward and not playing ourselves? And
I'm so proud of you.
What I do. What I
Receiving that lesson.
Oh yeah, it's another lesson that I know you really want me to learn. I'm gonna get there. I ain't there yet, which is not being accessible, but I'm gonna get there.
Precious, I think one thing I've learned from you actually is you teach me lots of things. And everybody teaches everybody things. And I think one thing I've learned from you is that you know you're great. And you don't shy away from knowing that you're great. And you have a craft that you are brilliant at. And like you said, the things you aren't brilliant at, you just ain't gonna do. And that's okay. And so for me, I will be taking into 2021 to know that I'm great at what I do and know that I don't have to be great at everything, but I am good at what I can control at this. I am good at this. And I'm going to know that because of you. So thank you, Precious, for that.
I think it's also, if you fell out of love with something, even though you're good at it, not great, it's okay to say no to accepting more of it. It's okay to completely shifting whatever level you're on so that you can move up. As I said, guys, my whole purpose for next year is to be a conglomerate. So what does not serve that? Toodles. Now I'm realizing also my type of clients are changing. Yes, I started with them, I started for them, but it's okay to love them from a distance. Very much appreciative of the level they have brought me to, but I probably that's the reason why I opened another business in the middle of a pandemic, because I'm not being challenged enough. Like, I need to be able to explore whatever creativity that comes forward during a project. I don't want to be stopped. So that's kind of the mindset I'm in right now. If it's not going to serve me, it don't make any sense.
I would say for me to not play small is to own the narrative that what I have to offer is of value. And the way I do it is also of value because of the experiences in life. There's enough room for everybody. So there's other people that are skaters, other people that are photographers, other people that are creative directors, other people that are like all the things that I do. There's other people that do it, but there's room for me and them too. It's not just one person in one field in one place. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that do a lot of things that make us better. Other photographers make me better when I see their work. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not saying, oh, someone did this or had the same idea or the same thing as me. Oh, now I should stop or I shouldn't do it. It's like what I have to offer and the way I have to offer it is valuable. And that's one thing I have to keep telling myself, and I continue to tell myself, in order for me to play to my biggest strengths rather than shrinking and being like, oh, someone did what I wanted to do or something like that. So yeah, what I have to offer is of value.
Everyone can hear me? Yes. Okay. I have to do that with disclaimer each time. So for me to not play small, I think it's the aspect of like not being the yes woman and feeling like you have to say yes to everything. Because once you say yes to everything, it takes away from the things that you really do want to put your energy in and focus on. And part of that may be part of your being, or maybe you're someone who doesn't like to say no, but still in that, like, really be able to stand your ground and say, like, no, I can't do this. I don't have the bandwidth to. And in doing that, being able to call the person that you know that can do it. And you share the wealth, right? You share the wealth, you share the connections, and that's how things grow. So for me, it would be that, because I know I'm that person that is the yes woman. And in this phase that I'm in, I'm learning to say no and give it to the next person, because either I can do it or I don't have the time to do it. It still does take away from the things that I need to do and plan. That would be my approach.
Naja, sorry, just on that note, I highly recommend you read The Four Tendencies. Everyone actually read The Four Tendencies. It's actually a really good book to find that it kind of identifies your personality and kind of how you are as a person, and allows you to navigate in certain spaces and makes you aware of how you are as a person, and so how you can flip it to make it work for you rather than feeling like you have to say yes. Because I'm the same. I say yes even when I know I shouldn't say yes. I'm like, ugh. So The Four Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin, I highly recommend it, just off that point. But
put it in the chat and I will look it up.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you all said some just really powerful things that I'm gonna all, take with me. I would offer do the work. As you all think about all the things that you're building, do the work to master your craft. And when it comes to all the things that you all mentioned around, playing small, around saying yes to go in spaces either you don't want to or you're not qualified to do, when you do the work, you can stand on like, this is what I'm good at. And so when you master your craft and you are able to show up in places, the other part for me, which is the flip of this, is that what I don't want to do is, Melanie Hobson, this quote, Melanie Hobson is the CEO of Ariel Capitals, an amazing African-American financial guru, says, I don't want to be the victim, I want to be the victor. And sometimes when we tell our story, we come from a place of being the victim. 2020 ain't taking me out. Like, I'm not about to be the victim. I'm not about to be collateral damage. And so I'm going to do the work so that I can stand on all the things that I need to know about being the best at. We are in this time where we are unapologetically saying Black Lives Matter. That is a foundation. When I show up to do the work in my area, I am just going to be the best crisis manager. I'm going to be the best business coach. I'm going to be the best technology person. And just so happen that my Blackness and that my gender is going to take me even further. And so when you do the work, when you master your craft, when you know ins and out, even, as a former lobbyist, one of the things that I learned is that when you're debating somebody, if you come to the debate table and you have not learned both sides of the issue, you have already defeated yourself. That's a part of doing the work, is know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the in-between of your industry, of the product and service that you're building, of the people that you're serving. You need to know that, because that for me becomes very much so a part of this environment around the fear that you put in yourself of, am I supposed to be here? I'm showing up in a way that, I'm smallsing myself, that I'm just not, taking up the space I should. And a lot of that is because you're unsure of what's around the corner. And if you've done the work to know as much as you need to know about the space that you're in, your position much, much more positive. So for me, I got a lot of work to do. I know the work never ends, because I think one of you all said things are changing so quickly. And if you're not keeping yourself in tune to what's happening around you, around the work that you're in, you're going to be left behind. Things that we said that were later are now, when someone probably told you 2 years ago that you would take all your doctor's appointments telehealth. It was like, but is that safe? How they gonna touch me? How they gonna know that I really got a fever? That's the environment we're in now. Somebody who built an amazing telehealth company knew that that was gonna be happening. They did the work. They looked at the trends. we got to make sure that as we build our businesses, that we do the work and that we stay on top of all the things that will catapult us to be at that next level. So that's how I'm not going to play small, because I'm going to do the work.
I love it. I love it. Alex, you?
I already said my piece. I said, you're great. I said, I'm great. I said, you're great. I'm going to do the work to continue being great.
Y'all all great. I tell you what.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You make me so happy. You really do. Yeah, I really, there was something else that came into my mind. I think either when Shawntera or Naja was speaking, which was, I think it would be very helpful, and me and Tori, we've talked about this as well on her keynote, is that I think it's really helpful when you set boundaries. I think one of the real reasons why I've become so, like, yes, I'm still highly accessible, but I'm also not accessible because I have boundaries set. Like when people hit me up now and they're, oh, hey, can you, no. Oh, hey, Precious, no. Well, can you, no. It's like, no. I just, no has been my favorite word all of 2020. And going into 2021, no is still gonna be my favorite word because I just feel like, and it really doesn't, I mean, I of course, who doesn't? I love making money, but it doesn't really serve me if I feel exhausted. Like, it doesn't serve me if I'm not happy. And that's just more apparent now, especially after reading that book, because one of the things that Gay Hendricks really talked about was the 4 zones. So the zone of incompetence, the zone of competence, the zone of excellence, and the zone of genius. And how most of us fluctuate between the last 3 zones of your zone of genius, your zone of excellence, or your zone of competence. And what I like reading the book, you'll discover like your zone of competence is things that you can do, but you don't do well, and that really are taking up your time that you could hand off to the next person. And your zone of excellence being things that you're really good at, but you know them like the back of your hand. You know them. Like, one thing about Alex is that, like, if I needed to write a PR statement, I would go to Alex to write a PR statement because I know she probably knows it in the back of her mind. Like, she knows how to do it like clockwork. And I know that's something that's really quick for her, right? But zone of genius is like her owning the coven, and the fact that that taps into all of your senses and your wheelhouse, and it makes you sad, it makes you happy, it makes you just all of the things. So for me, it's like, Roushelle, I love you, but it makes me happy knowing that, like, me having King Pete Studio is my zone of excellence because I know how to design, I know how to look at color, I know how to really arrange color in my mind, so that way, you know, things make sense in a digital or print space. When it comes to art in many forms is my zone of genius because of the simple fact it makes me happy, it makes me sad, it makes me crazy. But I still do it because it means so much to me. And so even though I sometimes can be like, oh my gosh, wow, it's still something I come back to. So this has been really great. Shawntera, you finna leave me too? I see you typing. Yeah, see. So
girl, you know, I got like 4 jobs here.
So it's been really cool. I think I appreciate both you and Alex for coming on and being a part of this. I'll share emails Shawntera?
Absolutely. Please do. Please do.
So I'll share emails.
Because I'll share my home address so they can send me all their goods and services so that I can support them.
You see how she did?
I'm gonna pay. Now let the record be straight. I'm gonna pay because that is how you all thrive. But I just need to make sure you have my address so that it gets to me.
Listen, I've got a website and everything, so you can purchase straight from the website. I've got international shipping now, so hey, I mean, get it. So
before we go, I just want to ask one last question, and then we're done. And Shawntera, I want you to answer it first. For a little Black girl or a young Black woman who wants to start a business and seeking inspiration, and maybe scared or just unsure of how to start or if she should start, what is your advice? Come on, Pastor Hardy.
The one thing that I've learned is version 1 is better than version none. You know what that means? Start. If it's your lemonade stand and you got to master that lemonade recipe, start with your family. Because they're going to tell you that it's too bitter or you put the whole thing of sugar in it. But if you don't start and you keep that brilliance in your head, you're telling your ancestors that I'm not trying to take everything you instilled in me to take it to the next level. So start. If you are of age as I am, start. You can do as I did for a long time. I played an entrepreneur on TV. I still have my every 2 weeks coming in. However, I started and worked to build that foundation to make sure that I was in a position that when I wanted to truly make that leap, I was able to make that leap, knowing the risk, knowing the reward, but you have to start. That's my advice.
I so appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go ahead and head out if you want to head out. We appreciate
it. Ladies, continue to, Tori, I'm taking your word of thriving. Naja, I want to embrace that word of giving yourself grace. Roushelle, I'm ready to pivot when I need to pivot. Thank you. Thank you all. Wonderful to meet you. I appreciate being able to hold space with you guys. Bye, Precious. We'll talk soon.
Yes. Bye, moms.
Bye-bye.
You guys, this has been really dope. I really appreciate you all. Man, any last words for y'all? And then I'll hang up the recording and then we can get our real last words in.
You said for advice for someone who wants to start. I would say this literally the same thing that Shawntera was saying. Like, you can never start too early and you can never start too late. Like, if you feel like I'm too old, nah, it's not true. If you think I'm too young, it's not true. Like, both of them are not true. You can never start too early, you can never start too late. Start where you're at, whatever you have, whatever you need to start, you already have. That's one thing I said to Precious before, and she reminded me of that, but it's actually true. Whatever you need to start, you already have it. The fact that you've got the idea in your brain means you already have it. I think there's something, it was a quote, something I read heard somewhere where people say the saddest thing about when people pass away is that they pass away with ideas and things and thoughts and dreams that never see the light of day, that could most likely change the world for the better, but they never had the confidence, the encouragement, the whatever to even put it out there. Like, my biggest thing is regret, and I don't ever want to live with regret. I don't ever want to look back and say, oh, what if I had tried this? I'm going to try it. If it fails, then cool, I know it didn't work. But if I don't try it, then I don't know it would work or doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? So, like, just going off what Shawntera said, just start with what you have. What you have is enough. It's never too late and it's never too early. So
I think one thing I like about myself in business is that no matter what the idea is, I run with it. It is going to happen. I test every idea, and I might not test it today, but I plan on testing it within the next 6 months to 12 months. Rest assured, right? I also think that your skills and your talents are wrapped up in your purpose. So we should always operate in our zone of genius. Again, what we're looking for or what we need is really within and not outside. Outside just helps you to refine what's within, right? Your yes or your no really defines who you are, defines what you do and how you operate. At all times, you should be fabulous and functional, right? At all times, you should take your brand into consideration and the legacy and longevity of what you're doing. Because then you'll know how you're making that impact, because you're not just showing up, you're not just doing something just to do it, you're not just doing it for the trend, but you're also doing it to make sure it has such an impact on the lives of others, of the businesses of others, of whatever it is, so that that result is measurable, whether it's just emotional, mental, measurable, or physically measurable. But yeah, be well-rounded in what you do, not what everybody else does.
I will add to what both of you say and say, with all of that, trust the process. Because I feel like when people think about ideas for business, the first thing is that, like, we have this idea that we want it to be, a multi-million-dollar company from day one. So that's the first idea. And then second, there's this like subconscious thought of like, what if people don't like this? Then you have people kind of like putting their own thoughts on what you want to do and a plan that you have. X out all of that. Like, start where you are, whether it is magnified or whether it's small, because that still gives you opportunity to grow and add to it. And trust the process, because whatever you see in that vision, when you put in the work and you put in the time, that will happen. Who knows the timing that you have for yourself? Who knows the timing that the universe has for you? Because I truly believe all things happen when they're supposed to happen. But literally just start and trust the process. And in that, you will learn to pivot. You'll learn to like, why won't my internet be great? I don't understand why. And if I'm yelling and I come out clear like this, I don't know. But with that, I will say trust the process. That is it.
The best part about it is that you are literally living what you said. Trust this process, because let me tell you something. This internet over here in NY, okay, is doing whatever it want to do. And that is okay. I was finna write it, but I'll just say I'm gonna send an email with everybody's socials, just so everybody knows, with everybody emails. I know it probably isn't mentioned beforehand for the people who just got to, when we started the Zoom, but please tap into Alex West Steinman, because she and her other 3 co-founders started the Coven for a very long time. They actually used ifundwomen.com when it was beta. They are, I think, one of the only ones still. I think they are the #1 fundraisers of iFund Women. When they started the Coven, they raised over $350,000 on iFund Women. Yeah, Alex, the thing that I love about Alex and Shawntera, and I know they'll watch this later, is that they are so humble, but they are wolves in sheep clothing, and I love it because they are just so humble. Shawntera too, if you Google around policy grounds, you will see how much, when it comes to funding, that Shawntera has raised for her different companies, and also too, Shawntera just doing the different things that she does in all of her businesses. Shawntera has told me about permits I need to get to be registered and things of that nature. So they're just all amazing. I just wanted to put that plug in there. I just keep saying the same thing that I've been saying. Really get your position statement down. And when I say position statement, I mean, like, know who you are That way, when you walk into the world, other people don't have to tell you who you are. Set some hard boundaries, just like deadlines. Like, baby, this is what I do. This is where I live. Not saying you can't grow past that, but don't be out here trying to be a filmmaker when you know you should just be in-house doing the you know, what's the words I'm looking for, Tori, when the people who do all the editing, retouching. Don't be out here trying to be the photographer, the filmmaker, when you just the retoucher. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out here trying to actually run the pageant when you know you should just be in the pageant. Okay? Don't be out here trying to be a part of the agency and build the agency when you ain't never stepped in one. You know what I mean? So play to your skills, and then, as Shawntera said, elevate them, study them, master them, because in that by itself you become better at what you're doing. I think that's it. That's all. I really appreciate everyone. We're gonna have our real words. Thank you to everyone. I appreciate each one of y'all. I really hope that your year is bomb as and yeah, I'ma hang up. Bye, y'all.